The Galactic Military Academy's fear trials were legendary throughout the known systems. For 3 centuries they had served as the ultimate test of mental fortitude, separating the elite from the merely competent. The trials were designed by the Vorth, a species whose evolutionary history on a nightmare world of predators and psychological warfare had gifted them with an intimate understanding of terror itself. Commander Zethrak observed the monitoring station with satisfaction. Across dozens of screens, cadets from 17 different species writhed in their neural pods, experiencing their deepest fears made manifest through advanced psychic technology. The crystalline from Vega Prime faced the dissolution of their ordered thoughts into chaos. The proud warrior cats of Felixia confronted scenarios where their honor was stripped away piece by piece. Even the stoic granite-born trembled as they experienced the sensation of their stone flesh crumbling to dust. Excellent response patterns, muttered Dr. Yixtal, the Vorth scientist who had designed the current iteration of the trials. Fear. Responses are peaking at optimal levels. The neural stress should break down any remaining psychological barriers to absolute obedience. Zethrak nodded approvingly. These trials didn't just test courage. They systematically dismantled a being's sense of self, rebuilding them as perfect soldiers who would never question orders, never hesitate in battle, never dream of rebellion. It was a process that had created the most disciplined military force in the galaxy. "Sir," called Technician Mordex from across the room, "we have an anomaly in Pod 47. Both officers turned to examine the screen. Pod 47 contained the human cadet, Alex Chen, according to his file. The readouts showed something unprecedented in the trial's 300-year history. His fear response indicators are—" Mordex paused, rechecking the instruments. "Completely flat, sir. Brain patterns indicate he's in REM sleep." Dr. Yixtal's mandibles clicked in confusion. Impossible. The neural interface is delivering his species' most primal terrors directly into his consciousness. No being can sleep through that level of psychological assault. On the screen, Alex Chen's face was peaceful, almost serene. Occasionally, a small smile would cross his features. "Increase the intensity," Zethrak ordered. Yixtal manipulated the controls, flooding the human's mind with scenarios designed to break even the strongest will. Chen was shown Earth burning, his family dying, his own body failing him in countless horrific ways. The equipment strained at maximum output. Alex Chen snored softly. "This is unprecedented," Yixtal whispered. "The psychic pressure we're generating would reduce a Vorth to a gibbering shell. How is this creature not only resisting, but resting?" Hours passed. Around them, other cadets began emerging from their pods, some catatonic, others weeping, all of them fundamentally changed. The proud and individualistic beings who had entered were gone, replaced by hollow-eyed soldiers ready to follow any command without question, except for Alex Chen, who continued his peaceful slumber. "Wake him manually," Zethrak finally ordered. Technicians carefully extracted the human from his pod. Chen stretched, yawned, and looked around with mild curiosity. "Oh, hey," he said, cheerfully. "Are we done already? That was great. I had the most amazing dreams." Zethrak studied the human intently. According to his file, Chen was unremarkable by human standards. Average physical capabilities, decent but not exceptional test scores, no notable achievements. Yet he had accomplished what no being in recorded history had managed. "Cadet Chen," Zethrak began carefully, "what did you experience during the trials?" Alex scratched his head thoughtfully. "Well, there was this crazy dream where Earth was under attack by giant space squids. But then I remembered I could fly. You know how dreams are. So I started punching the squids until they turned into pizza. Then I dreamed I was back in my childhood home, but it was also somehow a spaceship, and my grandmother was there making cookies that could cure diseases." He paused. "Oh, and there was this recurring thing where I kept thinking I was late for an exam, but every time I got to the classroom it turned into a beach party." Dr. Yixtal stared at him. "You turned the fear constructs into pleasant dreams?" "I guess." Chen shrugged. Look, I've been dealing with anxiety and nightmares since I was a kid. My therapist taught me lucid dreaming techniques years ago. When you've spent enough time learning to recognize when your brain is trying to mess with you, it gets pretty easy to take control. The implications hit Zethrak like a meteor strike. The trials were designed around the assumption that fear was an uncontrollable primal response. But humans, these strange paradoxical creatures, had developed methods to consciously override their own neurochemistry. "This changes everything," he muttered. Over the following days, Chen became the subject of intense study. The Academy's xenopsychologists discovered that human psychology was far more complex and adaptable than they had assumed. Unlike other species, humans seemed to possess an unusual relationship with their own fears, acknowledging them, studying them, and developing sophisticated methods to overcome them. The human concept of courage wasn't the absence of fear, as the Academy had always taught, but rather the ability to function despite it. Their literature was filled with stories of ordinary individuals overcoming impossible odds through sheer determination and cleverness. Their therapeutic practices included deliberately confronting fears to diminish their power. "They've been running their own fear trials for millennia," Dr. Yixtal reported to the Academy Council. "They call them horror movies, haunted houses, and extreme sports. They seek out fear as entertainment and personal growth." Worse still, when other human cadets were subjected to modified trials based on Chen's experience, they showed similar resistance. Some struggled more than others, but none broke the way cadets from other species did. When the humans emerged, they remained fundamentally themselves, questioning, creative, and irritatingly individualistic. The Academy faced an unprecedented crisis. For 3 centuries, they had relied on the fear trials to create obedient soldiers. But humans couldn't be broken by fear. They could only be challenged by it. Commander Zethrak found himself making a recommendation that would have been unthinkable weeks earlier. Abandon the fear trials entirely, at least for human recruits. Instead, the Academy would need to develop new training methods that worked, with human psychology rather than against it. As for Alex Chen, he was quietly transferred to the Academy's new experimental training division, where his unusual resilience would be studied and his natural abilities properly developed. On his last night in the standard barracks, Chen was asked by a fellow cadet how he had managed to sleep through an ordeal that had left everyone else psychologically scarred. Chen considered the question seriously. "I think," he said finally, "it's because humans learned a long time ago that the scariest monsters are usually the ones we create in our own minds. Once you accept that, it becomes a lot easier to tell them to shut up and let you get some sleep." The human smiled and closed, his eyes ready for whatever dreams or nightmares might come.